D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So, it looks like Matt Reeves' The Batman movie is starting to come together, and it's having a rough start as far as casting goes at this movie. They've cast some, they've had some dropouts, all that good stuff. And so right now for this video, I'm going to take a step back and we're going to break down the casting choices of this movie and just talk about them and see, what you guys think. And I'm going to tell you my opinions on the whole subject and everything. So why don't we just go ahead and let's dive right in. So first, it was announced that Robert Pattinson would be playing Batman. Now, I wasn't 100% on board with this, just because a small piece of me was afraid that it would just be Twilight, but, instead of vampires, it would just be Batman, which is kind of like vampires. Anyways, and everything. But then Vanity Fair did an article with him in it, and he came off very charming and competent when it comes to his acting talent. He talked about how he came to the audition with 4 different ways that he wanted to play different scenes and how he wanted to play the character and everything. And it was just not only a good article, but it did make me see that maybe Robert Pattinson is going to take this serious. I mean, as a comic book fan, that's what I want personally. I want these actors to take these comic book movies seriously, because I take them seriously. So I think that it wasn't my number one choice, but I do think now, after reading that article, it was. And I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. So the next one I want to talk about is Jim Gordon. Now, they cast Jeffrey Wright, and let me just tell you right now, this is inspired casting. I did talk about this on a week in review video that I do every week, but I'm going to talk about it again now. So Jeffrey Wright is just a great actor. I love him. He's so good. I love, the movies that he's in, sometimes they might not be good, but he's always excellent. So I think this is a really good choice. Yes, he is black, and they did race bend the character, which is fine by me. I think that he does look like Jim Gordon. He's just black and everything. And this does make it, they have to cast, at minimum, a mixed race woman to play Batgirl when they do make a Batgirl movie. Or if they do make a Batgirl movie, which is fine by me. I'm fine with that. I think that's okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about the race bending thing in just a little bit. But yeah, I think that Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon is such a superb choice, and I'm super happy about that. Now let's get into the meatier casting stuff, and that is the villains. So first one we're going to talk about is Catwoman. Now, Matt Reeves has picked his Catwoman, and I gotta say, it's a little underwhelming. As far as choices go, I know some people were excited about it, but I think a lot of people are not excited about the fact that it's Zoë Kravitz, but just the fact that it's a woman of color and saying that it's race bent, which I do get a little bit annoyed with people. Like, their whole goal is to piss people off and everything, and I don't understand that mentality. Yeah, so we'll get into that just a minute more. But it's really not about race bent. This character is not really race bent, because black women have played Catwoman before. Now, you may remember Eartha Kitt. She played Catwoman in the 60s Batman and did a fantastic job. I mean, and then you'll also remember that Halle Berry played Catwoman in the solo Catwoman movie. So I think that this one really isn't like for me, it's not a shocker. I wasn't, when they said they were casting a woman of color, I was just like, okay, whatever, it's been done before. It's not like a big surprise. So, I mean, if you're trying to get, people pissed off, I don't think they should be upset about that, because it's been done before. Anyways. And from the get-go, they were looking for a woman of color to play Catwoman. And I will, and then we'll take a look at the other women that made the final list in just a second, but I just want to talk about Zoë Kravitz. Anyways, I honestly believe that Zoë Kravitz has had her shot, and in every movie she's been in, she's just not memorable at all. For instance, she was in X-Men First Class, Divergent, Mad Max Fury Road, Fantastic Beasts, and Big Little Lies. And in each time, she's failed to make a big impression or excite fans. Now, I don't think that Zoë Kravitz isn't a competent actor, I just think that she is someone that doesn't stand out as far as actors go. I mean, I'm pretty sure that anybody that's ever seen any of those movies or TV shows has never said, man, I wish Zoe Kravitz had a bigger role. So it's hard for me to believe that she would be suddenly able to do that here. Now, granted, with Jim Gordon and now Catwoman, these characters have been brought to the big screen so much that you have to do something different. So I understand casting a woman of color. I really do. But here's my question, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off. But when characters are race-bent, why is it that when the original character is white, they automatically go to a black character? Are Asians and Latinos not even being considered for these roles? Because, don't get me wrong, I'm all for inclusion and representation in movies, but it's very clear that they're not representing certain races, and they're only trying to represent two races, white people and black people. And I go, that's not really giving the other races on this planet a chance to shine. Plus, it doesn't represent the world that we now live in. Now, in saying that, in the final list of women that were considered to play Catwoman, they did consider Ana de Armas and Isa Gonzalez. Those two Latinas were considered, but they weren't picked. They weren't picked at all. So I honestly believe that but I honestly believe out of those three, there were a couple more in there, but out of those people, Zoë Kravitz, those two were better choices than Zoë Kravitz. I mean, she was definitely not at the top of the list when it came to people out of that list to pick, in my opinion. And now, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting when they said they were looking for a woman of color that they were going to be casting an Asian woman. Because in the comics, she is, in my opinion, if she's not white, then she looks very Asian to me. And I think that this would have been a nice choice for the DCEU. And, yeah, a nice choice for it. Now, granted, Zoë Kravitz has worked for Warner Brothers in the past, and Warner Brothers is notorious for rewarding people that have worked for them. They're very loyal over there at Warner Brothers. And her stepfather is Aquaman, so I'm pretty sure he put in a good word for her. But I still just don't know if this was the best choice for Catwoman. Now, I do reserve my right to change my opinion, just as everyone does. She could blow it out of the water and blow my Zoë Kravitz and everything. But at this stage in the game, I don't think so. So the next one I want to walk over to is Penguin. So when it comes to the Penguin, Jonah Hill said the other day, no thanks, I don't want to be in your Batman movie. And so he dropped out. Now, Warner Brothers really didn't want to pay him. They really didn't want to pay him the money. From what I understand, he wanted $30 million to be in this movie. And so they tried to make it work out, but it didn't work out. So now apparently he didn't want to play the Penguin. He wanted to play the Riddler. And he didn't want to play the Penguin because it was too close to home. But I'm like, you can't play the Riddler in this movie. I mean, like, if you got cast as the Riddler, everybody would go see this movie and they'd just be all like, why are you the Riddler? Why aren't you playing the Penguin? So I mean, it was like Warner Brothers, like, they were just like, this is ridiculous. You need to play the Penguin because you're not the Riddler. Apparently Warner Brothers was like, hey, maybe we can get Seth Rogen to play the Penguin. But Seth Rogen also said no. So what exactly is wrong with this film that nobody wants to be in it? Or it's just the fact that it's a Robert Pattinson, Zoë Kravitz film now. So I'm curious to see who they do cast for the Penguin in this movie. And maybe casting Josh Gad is now your only option, Warner Brothers. In fact, give the guy a call. Let him have an audition. What's the harm in that? He can audition, and if he doesn't do good, just be like, no. So the last one I want to talk about, and the most recent casting, was the Riddler. And so they picked Paul Dano. Now, he's been cast as the Riddler. Now, Jonah Hill wanted that role over the Penguin, so it must be a good role. Plus, I also think that Jonah Hill didn't want to be associated, again, with the Penguin because of his weight and everything. Like I said before, that hit too close to home. Now, Paul Dano is a good choice, but he's not the choice I would have went with. But I think that he might be the best that they can get for this movie. Now, he needs the work, so he's willing to roll the dice. And he doesn't have any Oscar nominations, but he does have a Golden Globe nomination and an Emmy nomination. And as an actor, I think he's pretty good. And he does specialize in sniveling and nerdy superiority, which is, of course, classic Riddler. And now, right now, in the comic books, they're trying to, make him, like, a cool Riddler. Like, he's got a question mark tattoo on his chest, and he's got, like, a, fun hairstyle, and he's very disco-y, and I'm like, that's not my Riddler, and everything. Hashtag not my Riddler. Anyways. Now, I don't think he is so good that you're like, oh my god, this is my Riddler. But I don't think that he's bad as far as choices go. And I just look at it and I go, yeah, he could be there, and that could work out. So we'll just have to see on that. Now, I think that this casting pulls the movie in the right direction, and in the direction of movies like Good Time, which star Robert Pattinson. Good Time is an excellent film. I suggest going to watch that film if you haven't seen it yet. Robert Pattinson does a really good job in that movie, and I would suggest it to anybody. So, what do you guys think about The Batman? What do you think about this roller coaster of casting situations with this movie? Are you pro all the casting choices so far? Are there some that you're not negative for? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.